Thank you to the new patrons Kevin Hayes and 1% of Gamblers. Become a patron for upcoming early access to my interview with Pinkacross, one of the best Pokemon team builders in the world and a fantastic channel for learning about competitive Pokemon fundamentals. Thank you so much for attending my presentation about why ElectricWindGirlfriend is one of the fastest rising competitive Pokemon analysis channels on YouTube. ElectricWindGirlfriend burst onto the scene with a unique PowerPoint presentation style. The visual simplicity of these thumbnails and digestible content that conveys information quickly were at first a humorous novelty, but have quickly become a genuine source of fun and interesting Pokemon trivia for many. My gosh, I'm out of breath. How do you do this? ElectricWindGirlfriend shows that a bit of creativity goes a long way when trying to establish an identity and set yourself apart from other channels here on YouTube. This unique way to present analysis videos compared to other creators making similar content has been a breath of fresh air for the community. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me on the fridge today, ElectricWindGirlfriend, and how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I love that intro so much. I always love the intros for these podcasts. They're always so fun to hear because it feels like it's so interesting. And you do them live, which is insanely impressive. It sounds like it's pre-recorded.
I do it live.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't get it. I take so long on my takes, and you just nail it in one. It's so cool.
Do you usually do multiple takes for your little PowerPoint videos?
Oh yeah, it can take a long time. I've had videos where I'm recording for like 4 hours.
Wow, really?
Because I naturally talk really fast, and when I'm like really nervous, I get a stutter. So sometimes if I don't get it quickly, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I can't get this one word right. It's just an absolute disaster. So yeah, I've had really long recording sessions, but it's been getting better recently.
Do you usually do the entire video in one take, or do you stitch it together afterwards? In post?
I do stitch it together.
Oh, okay.
I used to do it all in one take because at first it was easier and I didn't script my videos. So I was like, I'll just do it in one take. But it kind of got to the point where it was taking a long time because it would get what kind of ended up happening is it scripted because I knew all of my like lines and stuff and I was just saying them, but there was more like stutters and ums in the middle of it. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna script these because then I'll get more good information across. I don't make like bad mistakes because sometimes like I'll be talking and I'll miss a point and I'm like, I can't really go back to that because it's one take. But now, yeah, I do each slide individually and piece them together.
That's sensible. It does seem like it's all in one take though, but yeah, that would be difficult.
I do a decent bit of, I always make sure that it sounds as natural as it can because it's kind of the part of the appeal.
Absolutely, a bit of cinema magic there. Well,
yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to chat today. And I wanted to ask you about the origin of your username, ElectricWindGirlfriend. What is the story behind that? Is it like Zapdos, electric flying type, or?
No, so, okay, this is a fun one. So I play a lot of Smash, and it was after a Smash tournament. My friends and I were getting some food, and we were I was like, I want a joke tag for a month. And this was about like a little over a year ago. I was like, I want a joke tag for a month. I don't like my old tag, which is normal, and it's really bad. So we were like coming up with some names, and Quagsire has a move called Electric Wind God Fist. Quagsire's from Tekken, but in Smash, Electric Wind God Fist is like his best move. So we were like, okay, EWGF, how can we like take that and make it like a different acronym? And one of us, I don't remember who, was like, Electric Wind Girlfriend, that's a fun one. So I did that for a month, and then I was like, this is so much more fun than normal, so I'm just gonna keep it, and I did. And it's like the best tag ever. I love it so much. That's
pretty funny. EWGF does evoke that. Why was your tag normal, but just normal was your tag?
So in my high school eSports team, this is like 5 years ago, I was signing up and they were like, all right, you need a tag. And I was going through like a bunch at the time because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was like, I need something. So I made my tag something on my Switch, and then I made a separate like alt account, and I named that alt account normal because I was like, it's my normal account. And then I looked at it again and I was like, you know what, that works. So I just did that for like 3.5 years.
That is a pretty funny tag. I like it.
Yeah,
ElectricWindGirlfriend is more memorable, and that's better branding.
Normal is about as basic as you can get, yeah.
Well, what a story. Thank you. What was the source of this PowerPoint idea that you've made a name for yourself with? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I'm in college right now to be a teacher, and I've always loved the idea of PowerPoint as like an education tool because it seems so perfect because you have pictures and then you have words like, and you can have like notes and little fun facts that you don't say but you can kind of show in the thing. And I've always loved PowerPoint as an education tool, but I didn't feel like my teachers were using it very well, or at least in a more engaging way to students. And I was like, I want to be a teacher and I want to like have this kind of thing going on. But I was like, what could be cool is if you did that for other topics that weren't like history or science, you know? So I was like, okay, what if I try this with Pokemon? And it's also kind of the perfect idea for me when it comes to video making. I don't have any like traditional editing software. I don't know how to edit, and I don't like have the time to learn how to edit, especially while I was in school. I just didn't have the like ability to really learn because I'm, going to classes full time, and I have like friends outside of school. So like I just want to be able to do this and have some fun and talk about Pokemon. And that was the kind of birth of the idea.
That's really interesting. Comes from the background as a teacher. That's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant video format, to be honest, because it really stands out from like every other channel. Where we're all. I think you posted this photo on Twitter once where it was your thumbnail alongside every other thumbnail of similar creators, and they're all like, commissioned artwork of like Dracovish doing something, and they're really colorful and you got their Pokemon everywhere, and then yours are just a white background with like Times New Roman and just a PowerPoint about Clodsire or whatever, and that one stands out the most because it's just completely different.
Yeah, it feels, I think I kind of like accidentally stumbled into it a little bit, where the idea works really well because it's so like, it really is unique and it can be engaging in a very different way than like a super traditional video essay. Yeah, and then the thumbnail thing, that's always a fun one because like my thumbnails are like don't take any time at all. Like I don't have like I'm not very good at art, and I'm not super interested in commissioning a giant thumbnail for every video I make every other day. So I was like, oh, this is like a fun idea. And at first it was like a novelty, and then it was like, oh, this is just makes the most sense because it's like as you said, it's like a brand, It's like people see that and they're like, oh, okay, I know what this video is.
Exactly. I think there's something to be learned for new channels where there's this idea, that new channels have to, like on YouTube, to be successful, you got to have very hyper edited content where like every moment is trying to grab the viewer's attention in some way. And like every moment has some visual stimulus. There's that kind of idea. And then, there's a big thumbnail metagame at the moment with like people constantly trying to optimize thumbnails to grab people's attention. But sometimes a good strategy is to like ignore all that and do something very simple. And that can stand out too and be successful.
Yeah, definitely. The thumbnail metagame is really interesting to see from someone that watches a lot of, especially Pokemon YouTube. It's really interesting, like how people grab attention with thumbnails. It's always something that's fascinated me about YouTube.
Yeah, it's important to have a thumbnail style that is consistent and stands out from everyone else in the space that you're posting videos to. That's what I've tried to do with my thumbnails. A little bit. Like I got my own unique flair with them, hopefully. But yeah, yours have, and I'm a little bit envious because your video style is so simple and so like low production, and it works. So it's like to the point, and you don't need to like. I edit all my videos. I've got a pretty long scripts. The thumbnail takes me some time. Yours are very quick to produce, I imagine.
Yeah, they can be pretty quick. It fluctuates a lot based on the idea and the length of it, and then like coming up with good graphics for videos and stuff like that. And then voice recording, as I said earlier, can fluctuate with like hours. But yeah, it's like it can be pretty quick to produce. Especially recently, I've gotten a lot better at voice recording and making the processes easier. So it's gotten a bit quicker. Yeah.
Do you think you'll stick to just this format forever, or have you had any other ideas about branching out to different styles? You mentioned you don't know how to edit, but would you maybe like to learn how to edit or try some new stuff?
I do definitely want to at some point. I like the idea right now, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I want to keep doing it for as long as I can and as long as I enjoy it for. I do have some like longer ideas for videos that I want to make into more like traditional edited videos because I think they'd be really fun. And it's something that like, one limitation of my style is that covering really broad topics doesn't really work as well because they're short. Like I try to keep all my videos at maximum to like 4.5 minutes, because it kind of loses the like idea of what it is. But I want to have these long videos, but it's like, okay, I can't really produce these. So at some point I want to like really learn how to edit. And I have more time right now since it's the summer, so now is like the perfect time. So I've been trying to like see if I can do that, get a decent editing software. I have a MacBook. I don't have a big computer, so I don't know really how that works with that, like if I can actually run any big editing software, but I'm going to try and figure it out because I do want to start making longer edited videos at some point.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you start out with something low production and then you want to move to making more like well-produced videos. Like Freezeye did something similar. Freezeye's initial videos were very simple. Like he did edit them, but they were very simple with like just images on screen of like a Smogon screenshot and some gameplay footage. And then he transitioned away from that, and those were very short videos too, into way more high production editing. When you do that, you kind of lose your initial like when you're making those sort of amateurish videos, that becomes what people know you for. People sort of get attached to that. So if you move away from that and then you start to look like every other YouTuber, maybe you lose something. But for Freezeye, that pivot has been successful, and he's trying to grow his channel a lot and just go and move in that direction. But something to think about, I would say if you do start to do more edited videos, maybe try to maintain the PowerPoint visual branding, like with the white background and everything, but just add a little bit more like animations or like stuff coming up on screen, sound effects, little things, but keep the same look would be good.
Mm-hmm. I like the branding I have for many reasons. I think it's fun, and I like the simplicity of it. It's something that I kind of have grown really attached to. Like it's just something where I'm like, oh, this is like really fun to make, and I want to keep the branding and stuff similar. It's kind of funny. I've like experimented with doing little like transitions in some of my videos, like in the slideshow, because you can like animate things kinda in the slideshow, have them like fly on screen and do different things and play noises or whatever. And I haven't done the like play noises thing, but I've had a couple of times where I've had like little animations play out, and that's always fun. I got to do more of those. They're like a blast to make.
Yeah, and it does make the vid a little bit more engaging when there's something to look at. So that can be,
definitely.
If it's just a static screen. You do change the slides a lot, and you got little like Easter eggs, like the little Dracovish plushie toy that has a little joke. That people are, it's like Where's Waldo or something. People are looking for
pretty much
everything on the screen. But yeah,
making those like I love making the graphics because it's some of the most like it's where I get to be the most creative. Like you said with the Dracovish plush, it was an idea that spawned because the video where I made it was like structured like a multiple choice test where it was like a classroom kind of thing, and I was like, it'd be really fun if I had like a teacher's aide. And then people got really attached to it, and I was like, this is pretty fun, and it's a cute way to add some little like extra trivia, so I'll keep it. But yeah, all the graphics are really fun to make, and like I don't get that many comments about them because a lot of the appeal is like listening to it quickly and it being like that. But I always love making the little like Easter eggs, references to things. It's super fun.
Yeah, part of the charm. And it's a way to make it visually engaging without literally having to edit, because there's something for people to look at. So it's quite good in that sense too. Even if you're not getting comments about it, I'm sure people are enjoying it silently. It's part of the charm of your videos for certain.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Got a question from Pip SO3. Which version of PowerPoint do you use? Do you even use PowerPoint?
No. It's a bit of a it's only been revealed in like one video, but I use Google Slides because importing images is so much easier. I use Google Slides because it's much easier to use, and like I said earlier, I have a Mac. I think I can get PowerPoint, but I don't actually know because Google Slides is a lot easier, and I don't want to spend a bunch of money on like Office 365, so like nobody can notice a change.
It's like
it's
the
kind of
same
funny
thing.
because it's kind of funny. I've had the PowerPoint Twitter account respond to like a couple of my tweets, and it's always really funny because like it's the main brand of my channel, but I don't use PowerPoint. I use Google Slides. It's kind of funny.
Well, Microsoft has kind of won the cultural war where PowerPoint is the de facto name for like a presentation like that. Even if you're using a different software, you call it a PowerPoint. So they're probably happy anyway. Their brand is the one people associate with that every time. If you called it a Google slide about Dracovish, it wouldn't hit quite as hard. It wouldn't convey what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. It's kind of funny because it was an original like thing. Like, do I want to call it like a slideshow or do I want to call it a PowerPoint? And I eventually was like, I think PowerPoint like is more commonplace and it sounds more snappy. Like PowerPoint is so like boom boom, 2 words, pow pow. So I loved that idea, just using PowerPoint instead of slideshow, because slideshow sounds a little bit more clunky, I think.
I agree. PowerPoint's way better. Sounds way better.
Hmm.
Even though you're kind of doing free advertising for Microsoft, that's okay.
Yeah,
It's worth it, I guess.
definitely.
A question from DaxLeader719. Can I steal your video style for school presentations?
Yes, I started this. One of the things that immediately I was like, I wish that more people did this kind of thing, especially in like school, because like as I kind of mentioned earlier, the whole idea is that I love it when PowerPoint is, or like slideshows, I guess I'll say slideshows are used correctly, or even just like pretty decent, making stuff that's more interesting to the person like in class or something. So I absolutely love the idea of that. And I've had people that like ask me like, hey, can I make like videos in this style for things I like? And I'm always like, yeah, definitely. There's someone that makes like, I think Hearthstone content for it, and they've like done well, and it's really fun to see. I think it's a really cool idea that can be used for so many things.
Yeah, I'm sure other channels are doing this kind of thing. You have
Yeah.
your own way of doing it. It'll be interesting if a bunch of like ElectricWindGirlfriend clones start propping up. We see a bunch of
It would
PowerPoints
be
about
kind of
the
funny.
barrel or whatever.
It would be funny.
I actually just had a flashback to my school where I did a PowerPoint presentation about Pokemon for English class.
No way, that's awesome.
I completely forgot about that, and I got like an F, or the equivalent of an F. It was like terrible.
Oh no.
And it was kind of cringe because I'm
That
just in
is
front of both my classmates talking about Pokemon as like a 17-year-old.
Like nobody understands what any of this means. Like I'm saying like it's calc and they're like, I don't even know what any of that means. I'm sitting here trying to get through my English class and this person's talking about like, I don't know, like ADV Tyranitar calcs. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what it was about, but like, it could be a little bit confusing.
Yeah, they would tell you like you should, talk about something you're passionate about. So that's what I did, but not like that. Pokemon, what is that?
Yeah, something you're passionate about, but
That's
that
normal.
people would know.
Something
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I took it. There was a social cue missed there or something where I made a presentation about Pokemon. Anyway, a question from Spencer. Do you actually own the Dracovish plushie frequently depicted in your presentation?
I don't. It's like I want to get it official, but it's out of stock, and on eBay it's like $60. And I'm like, I want to like be able to get it like straight from the Pokemon Center, so I don't have it, which is really unfortunate. I wish I did. And I like pretty periodically check the website to make sure it's like still out of stock, because I really want to get it when it does come back, but I don't own it. I wish I do so badly though.
That's funny. You're like refreshing the page, checking if it's available.
Yeah.
They probably don't produce that many Is it a popular Pokemon among the general
I don't even think
merchandise
so.
audience? I would doubt it.
Like Dracovish, that guy? I don't know.
What 10-year-old is asking for a Dracovish over like a Charizard?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone wants the Pikachu, the like, Squirtle, Bulbasaur. No one wants the like
Iron Jugulis.
dragonfish. Yeah, no one wants Iron Jugulis.
Are they even producing merch of that? They got 3 total produced.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think they would have any produced, to be perfectly honest.
I gotta see the numbers on that. How many Iron Jugulis are in circulation right now?
I mean, there's more Iron Mugulus merch than Iron Jugulis.
That actually
There has
might be
to
true.
be.
No,
That'd be
that's
really
probably
funny.
not true. They just pump out plushies, but
Yeah,
one day we'll win. We'll outdo
One
the
day.
official Iron Jugulis. We'll get him.
it'll happen soon, I swear.
$60 for a little Dracovish is crazy.
It's so much. Because like nobody bought them, and there aren't like that many out there. Don't make that many, so it's like, yeah, 60. Do I want $60 on eBay for a like a second hand, or do I want to like get like an official Dracovish plush when it comes back in stock? And I definitely want the latter.
Does the Pokemon Center in Japan just have all of them? Like, could you go there and just get it? I thought that was the whole thing, is they just have every Pokemon.
I've heard that's the case, although I have no idea if
might
it's
not be
actually
true.
true. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. If it is, then that makes me more motivated to go to Japan.
That's
Although,
a
to be
video idea.
fair,
I went
going
to
to,
Japan to find a
yeah,
Dracovish.
it sounds really funny. Is like a trip idea, so I go to like try and find an official Dracovish. I mean, it'd be an insane money sink. It'd be like thousands of dollars, so I could get one Pokemon plush that costs like $20. So
You know
it
what?
could
You'll
be a
make it
bad
back
idea
when the
long
vid gets
term,
a
but
million views. You'll make it all back. No worries.
definitely, definitely.
So your videos cover a lot of different topics, including, doubles, official doubles tournaments, smoke on singles, more obscure formats too.
Mhm.
But what's your favorite way to enjoy competitive Pokemon? And what do you personally play? And what are your
I
favorite formats?
Ooh, okay, this is a fun one. I just love Pokemon in general, like playing the game. I play with like teams that I enjoy because I'm not a crazy serious competitor when it comes to Pokemon. I enjoy competitive Pokemon and I enjoy playing and building in a more competitive way. But like being super competitive in Pokemon, I know from like playing a lot of Smash that if I get too invested, I'm just gonna get frustrated and stop enjoying the game. So what I kind of do is just hump on ladder with teams that I like and play the game. In terms of favorite formats, oh man, my favorite formats. I mean, there's like five. I love random battles because it's so volatile and it's very quick. I don't have to worry about team building. Like I can play a random battle like if I'm getting a ride somewhere or on like a road trip. I can just like play a random battle and it's fun. Gen 9 is enjoyable. It's the current gen. I like playing it. I've had my like issues with the tier, and there was a time where I didn't really play it very much, but I've liked it a lot more as of late. It feels much more skill based than I initially thought it was. VGC. I actually dropped off playing VGC a little bit, and it's pretty obvious with my content, especially in Regulation F, because I didn't like the new additions. Every team, not every team, but a lot of teams felt like it was basically Incineroar or Shifu, and then either Rillaboom or Amoonguss, and then like Raging Bolt. And Raging Bolt is just this unkillable demon that I hate playing against, and it's really frustrating. So I didn't really play too much Regulation F. I didn't enjoy it too much. Like I watched everything and I kept up with all the meta trends and all that, but I just didn't enjoy playing it too much. But like watching it and learning about it was fun. And then there's two old gens that I really love playing. I love ADV a lot. It's probably my favorite old gen to like play. I don't team build as much for it because I found my one team that I love. It's this insane hyper offense team with like what is it? I lead with the Houdini Metagross, and then I have like Doug Trio and Magneton and like Heracross, and it's just this insane amalgamation of all the funny offense Pokemon. Like my favorite thing to do in that tier, especially when I'm playing at like 2 in the morning and I'm tired, but I want to play some Pokemon, is I'll lead Metagross and I'll click Explosion turn one. And if I kill something, then I just immediately bring out Doug Trio, and it works like half the time because people love bringing in the like blind Tyranitar or something, and then you just get to trap their Tyranitar, and it's very funny. And then the other old gen is definitely Gen 2. Gen 2 is really fun in a very different way because it's so slow paced, at least comparatively. And then it feels more like a chess game because I'm managing my resources much more like broadly throughout the game, at least with the style of teams I like to play. Because I play more balance in Gen 2 because I find it more fun. I don't like the hyper offense thief teams in Gen 2 as much, so I play a lot of balance there. But then they also have my favorite competitive Pokemon of all time, which is GSC Typhlosion. It's the coolest thing of all time. But yeah, I play a lot of different formats.
That's great. Yeah, we got some comments about Gen 2 Typhlosion. I suppose you've expressed your
Yeah.
adoration for this Pokemon. It's pretty cool in Gen 2. Uses the dynamic punch, right?
Oh yeah.
Mixed threat.
It's so sick. Yeah, the reason I like it is because Skarmory and Raikou is like my least favorite defensive core of all time. And Typhlosion is a Pokemon that has Fire Blast and Earthquake, while being pretty bulky and not Charizard, so it doesn't take super effective damage from electric attacks. So I'm able to like be more bulky into Raikou and click Earthquake, and I'm also like pretty quick and pretty bulky. And then I get coverage like Dynamic Punch, just chunking Snorlax and Tyranitar, and then also Thunder Punch, so I can like star me on switch in and like roll paralysis chance. It's really fun. It's such a fun Pokemon to use. It's super volatile, but it's so fun when it works.
Might be the only gen where like Typhlosion's better than Charizard. It's probably better in that format, just because it's not electric weak is such a big deal.
Honestly, not totally sure. I know that Charizard loves to run those like
Everyone's belly
I know it
drum.
likes running Belly Drum. Yeah, it's mostly Belly Drum there. In ADV, it becomes more nuanced, but in GSC, from everything I've seen, it just runs belly drum sets. But yeah, I would assume the Typhlosion is like a little bit better, but I'm not totally sure. I see more Charizard because it's Charizard, so.
Yeah, Gen 2 gets a bad rap overall, but it's a really fun metagame. I think, like,
Yeah.
it is a slow metagame. Some people want to deny that it's a slow metagame, but you got to be honest. It's a slow metagame. I think that the problem is that people view that as a bad thing when it's not a bad thing. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a different take. Like, there's a lot of fast Pokemon formats that you can play, but Gen 2 is very... I don't know how like exactly unique it is over the broad in the Pokemon, but it's one of the most slow and like solid play heavy. Yeah, like you need to like really be on top of it. Like me playing Gen 2 is more rare than any of the other formats, even though I absolutely love it, because I have to like be focused. Like I can't just throw it on and then be like, oh, I'm just gonna play this like fun like 5-10 minute game. Like no, I need to be like completely focused. I need to be playing the like focus music and locked in so I can like predict the switches and be ready for everything and not get like owned by some like explosion, or be able to, you know, it's such a, I'm kind of rambling here, but it's such a focused tier. I feel I have to be very focused when I play it.
Absolutely. I don't play it too often either, if I'm being honest. I mostly just respect it, but a lot of like the smoke on vets think it's the best meta, and I can understand why people think that. Like if you're a certain kind of player that enjoys that style, it's like the perfect environment.
Yeah, the more I've played it, the more I've felt that way, where it's like it really is one of the better meta games, and one of my favorite old gens. Like it's up there with ADV. I'm not sure which one I like more overall. I like playing ADV more, but I like team building Gen 2 more, and I like learning about Gen 2 just like a little bit more because it's such a weird meta game with a bunch of little like goofballs like Shuckle that are like randomly viable because Snorlax is good. It's really funny.
I really love Belly Drum Quagsire. That's the coolest Quagsire has ever been, is in Gen 2, where it could just destroy Snorlax with the damage. And I like how Belly Drum works in Gen 2. You know, if you're below half health, it just is basically a swords dance. Like it still works, but it just gives you +2 attack. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's crazy that they did that, but it makes Belly Drum like an even better move because you're like fast, you know, like Charizard, right? Like it can still put in some work at +2. So like, yeah, I mean, what? You take the damage, but then, okay, well, now I'm at +2 and clicking my really powerful earthquakes, and it's really fun.
On this topic, we got a question from Bromanda. When is the BKC boxing match? So you made a Gen 2 video a little bit ago, not really criticizing it, but like just about the slower pace of Gen 2. And BKC, fellow YouTuber, saw it and was a little bit miffed. Was a little bit in disagreement with you. How was that situation?
It was kind of funny because I made it and I was like pretty happy with it. I mean, in hindsight, there were a couple things that I think were just pretty wrong, especially my original thumbnail was more like, it sounded much more critical, and then I had a couple lines that like said like Gen 2 is like a stall fest, and that is like just not correct. Stall is not that good. It's just slower, and I kind of use stall and slow interchangeably, which really hurt how the video was perceived, which sucked. But then like I woke up for class at like 8 or something, and I'm going to the bathroom and I check my phone and I'm getting like a bunch of notifications like, dude, you gotta watch this video. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. And that is like, and that's the only day where I've released a video, or I've released a PowerPoint video like 2 days in a row, because I was like, I have the like concept of the second part like ready. I'm just gonna like make it now, or like get it done and uploaded now so I can, you know, just like not have to mess with this anymore. And the second one like basically corrected every issue in the first one, talking about GSC offense and why it's like not a slower tier. But it was like kind of stressful at the time. Now it's just kind of funny to look back on, is like this thing that kind of, it helped me like learn a lot about like research and how to like do research better, because I always do research for my videos, but I think that at the time I was doing less research because I was making mostly VGC content and I knew a lot of it just off the top of my head, and I had to really lock in and do more like head down research about things, and it did help me in that sense. But it was a whole ordeal, but I'm kind of glad. I'm glad it happened in the grand scheme of things. I think it helped me more than it hurt, you know?
Yeah, you got to be careful with how you word things sometimes.
Yeah.
In some of my videos, I sometimes misuse like a Pokemon term. I use the word counter a lot. like this is a counter to this Pokemon, when it's not, sometimes it's not a counter. But I think that the word counter conveys what I'm trying to say to like an average Joe better than like check, which they don't know what that means, or like whatever other word.
Yeah.
And sometimes people get furious in the comments, like, it's not a counter, Jimothy, it's a check. Sometimes. Like I called Altaria a Deoxys counter. Not really true. Not really a Deoxys counter. It's a check to a specific set of Deoxys. But that doesn't sound good in the title.
It doesn't.
How Altaria
like,
checks a specific Deoxys set, that doesn't quite roll off the tongue, you know?
It doesn't. It's such an interesting balance trying to make your like content more like appealing to people who don't play as much Pokemon, but also making it still like correct in the sense of like I want to make sure that this all works like overall, I guess. Like it makes sense. Yeah. In that. Yeah.
I think as long as I explain what the Pokemon does accurately, I don't really care about the terminology or whatever too much.
Yeah.
What really matters is what I'm saying about what the Pokemon does. If that's accurate, then that's all good. Sometimes even that's inaccurate though, especially when I talk about Gen 1. Every time I talk about Gen 1, I learn something because I'm completely wrong about some mechanic.
Gen 1 is this beast. I have sworn off. There's a couple generations that I've kind of just sworn off talking about, like without like being super basic, because like specifically Gen 1 and Gen 5, I play like none of those tiers. I just don't play them as much. The way that they feel isn't as fun for me. I don't like them too much, like playing them. So I don't talk about them very much unless I have to. And then when I do, it's much more like blanket. Like this Pokemon is good in Gen 5 for this reason, and not like going into more depth on exactly what it does and like what it like really beats, because I don't want to give off the impression that like this Pokemon is really good at doing this, but it's like not really that.
Yeah. I've had that issue talking about metagames I'm not super knowledgeable about. I try to like learn as I go, and then I miss nuances. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about that. I think that it's good to just like give things a go and then learn as you go, sort of thing.
I can agree with that for sure.
And when I make mistakes about how I word things, that's like a lesson for next time, and like a little addition to the knowledge bank.
Yeah, just learning about things as you continue to make stuff, right? You know, if you get like one thing wrong, it's not the end of the world. You know, you can learn and like grow from that and find out like what's correct, and then how you do that next time. And it's a whole thing, but you learn as you go a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you interested at all in turning YouTube into a career, or would that be a little bit risky? Or
it's something of it's something I've thought about a bit. It's like, if I think what I'm gonna do at this point is like if it becomes like really sustainable, then it probably is something I'm looking into doing. Because if it's like sustainable and they're making like comfortably enough money to like live, then yeah, that's something I think would be really cool to do. But like right now, I'm like not super sure. Like I'm not making enough money to like like live on like have like it's not like a full-time job in terms of money at all. So I'm just looking at everything and I'm like, in like a year maybe things will change. In a year, like I'm gonna do this next year of college, and then after that maybe, who knows, maybe it's like super good and I'm like, I don't need to like really do this like right now. Or maybe in a year I'm like, like I think this could be fun as a hobby, like I'm not making enough to really live full time and I'm just gonna like really pursue teaching. So we'll see. It's something I've thought about a lot, but yeah, it is risky. It's really risky because you never totally know how it's going to go. Like in 10 years, like, will I still be making content? And do I want that to be my full-time job,
It is risky. It's something I've done. I'm all in on it, and I'm pretty much trying to like go as hard as I can on the opportunity by making as many videos as I can realistically, while not sacrificing on quality too much, like just working really hard on it, and also diversifying into different fields, like merchandise, multiple channels, just growing as much as I can.
But there's a lot of really cool channels. Oh yeah, content creation it can be really stressful sometimes, with like just making videos and like expectations, and then like it's like numbers, and that's kind of like it can be annoying sometimes with dealing with numbers and the like stresses around that. Like, how can I make this video do better? But like, do I want to like delve full into this like numbers oriented thing? Because I mean, at least for me, it's kind of my perspective of like, I do YouTube because it's fun largely. Like I started doing this because I enjoyed it, and I wanted to make content that I liked making. And it's like, do I want to like try and like really metagame this thing, or am I just trying to like have fun? And it's this balance of what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm balancing at the moment, and it's difficult for some people. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I think it's like a good fit for me, but it might not be a good fit for everybody. And
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it would be so difficult to like, at least for me, to like wake up and be like, man, my job is like to make videos. Like I know that like if I did it, it would definitely get easier as time went on. But like from like an outsider's perspective, it seems so like that's like your job, like that's like what you do, and it's like that's nuts. Like it's so cool. I don't know. But it also seems stressful in its own unique ways and would have challenges. So it's it's something that's definitely on the table, but I don't. I'm not like looking super hard at it at the moment.
well, you've got a good setup for it to be a side thing because your videos are quick to produce.
Yeah.
And fun. Like it looks like fun making the little slides and everything.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. I have a lot of fun making these.
You got a good thing going on, so that's nice. Got a question from Blip Exists. A question for the both of us. Do you listen to anything when working on videos? While you're putting the slides together, are you listening to music or podcasts or something?
Yeah, I actually listen to a lot of other Pokemon content when I do. So I'll throw on like a False Swipe video, or I'll throw on one of your videos, or I'll throw on like a Reverend video, or a Big Yellow video, or just something there. And that's what I do. Or I listen to music, like instrumental music. I love listening to instrumental like jazz, and I love it's kind of funny. There's a joke in one of my videos about the John Boy's soundtrack, who makes a lot of like sports documentaries, and the soundtrack that he uses is really good. So I listen to that a lot. But I love listening to either instrumental music or other Pokemon content.
That's fun. Like listening to Pokemon while creating Pokemon content. I personally don't watch a lot of other informative Pokemon content, mostly because like I already know, like I don't know, False Swipe Gaming video about like why Landorus Theory is good. I think I know why. He's got Intimidate, he's got Stealth Rock U-Turn. I think I get it. I think I'm good at that. I don't know, I like BKC's videos because they're like, he's a funny guy, he's rambling. It's more of a podcast almost.
I love the BKC videos. For me, False Swipe, I generally avoid the like big Pokemon like Landorus. I love listening to the Pokemon that I don't know about. Like there's this playlist on YouTube. It's like all the like really bad Pokemon that they've talked about, and that's really fun to listen to.
Yeah, that
because
can
I
be
get to hear
interesting
like,
for sure.
oh, I didn't know Ariados had like this use case in Gen 4 PU. I don't know. I actually have no idea, but like it's really fun to listen to those. But like general Pokemon content about stuff that I know, I'll use it as background noise when I know things about it, but generally I don't like delve super deep into that.
Any other channels you enjoy on YouTube, like besides Pokemon creators?
I mentioned John Boys a moment ago, just like sports documentaries that are really fun and good. And then like other stuff too. Like he recently, I think it was released, a video about the history of people slipping on banana peels, which is an insane topic that
that's very fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch that video, like when I want to sit down and really focus on it. I love a lot of the longer form, like essay content, John Boy's, Amp Lemon, Summoning Salt, videos like that kind of cover this really interesting topic and have like overarching stories. But then in terms of like just like fun content to watch consistently, it's definitely Coney. Who you might know. I know you play some
the Smash guy,
but he's more Ultimate. Yeah, the Smash guy. Yeah, I love Coney's content. Just like it's consistently good ideas and good vibes, so it's always fun to watch.
I'm also a big fan of the video essay type stuff. I would like to make stuff like that someday, perhaps. Oh yeah, but I don't know.
It's so fun.
I'm in the Pokemon mines at the moment, but one day we'll branch out. Folks, stay tuned.
Definitely.
We had Glidus on the podcast. He's a Game of Thrones / books creator. I watch him a lot. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to make myself.
Yeah. I love that kind of like longer analytical content about something. It's so enjoyable. It's a blast. I love those.
History of the banana peel that's crazy. What is the like where the image came from? Because that's a classic gag. It probably came from like a 20s black and white silent film where a guy slips on a banana peel or something. Yeah. And then it endured in the culture since then or something.
Yeah, I don't know how you like research that. Like, what do you do to get information on it?
That's such a good video idea. Yeah, I would never have thought of such a thing.
Yeah, I have no idea how it works. So like as soon as I watch that video, I know I'm going to be like, oh, this is genius. But like in my head, I'm like, this can't work as like a video idea. Like there's no way this is going to like function. Like I don't know.
Those are the best kinds of video essays, where it's a topic it intrigues you with the absurdity of it. I think Amp Lemon had one that was like the history of the world's highest jump. And that was a great video. That was
such a good one.
Like would have had no interest in such a topic, but the thumbnail is just some guy looks like he's standing on top of the whole Earth. I'm like, what the hell?
It's like,
how did he get there? What's the story? And what is the history of such a thing?
Yeah, like I don't understand how it happens. It's very funny.
Got a question from SoCal Sun. As someone who follows both esports and traditional sports, how would you say your experiences with the two differ? And that can be as a player or as a fan.
That's really interesting. I've thought about this a bit because I mean I love traditional sports, especially college sports, which are always going to be like more like rowdy and wild than like the NBA or the NFL. Or the like all the more like professional stuff. College is just crazy. There's so many teams, there's so many things to follow, and I think that that's kind of something that ties those two together for me because it feels more grassroots in college football, and same with like esports, right? Like Smash. I love watching Smash tournaments, but before I hopped on this call, I was watching a Smash Major, COS 2024, and I watched DeBuzz lose to Steve. So, like I just love watching this kind of thing. But in terms of difference, it really is professionalism. Like in college football, even though it's like still insane, there's like still this air of like, we stay professional and we, like in that sense. But in college, or sorry, not in college, but like in esports, it's so like rough and tumble a lot of the time, especially in the ones I enjoy, like Smash. It's, like I can tune in to like a Smash tournament and hear the commentators talking about like random crap while Mango hits the coolest Falco combo I've ever seen with like 15 things. And then they're like, that was a really cool combo. And then they continue talking about like Arby's or whatever. It's really fun. And it's such a cool difference that I love.
That's true. Sports are way more professional. But some esports are too, like the huge ones, like League, Dota. Even
it's
Pokemon,
kind of funny.
the official Pokemon broadcasts are very professional.
They are. Those like I've never been as drawn to like super professional esports because at least to me, video games have always been like video games have never been something that I've wanted to be like crazy professional. For me, it's always been something to like do for fun. So seeing like, I mean, it's so cool to see, but like I've never been as interested in seeing insane like broadcasts and insane production values for people playing like Valorant. Like I'd love to see Valorant commentary. Like I love watching Valorant like streams or something, or like highlights, because it's really fun and you get to see a lot of the like energy that you don't really see as much in professional like sports and even like the original cast. But I love the like more professional esports. I think it can be really fun, especially Rocket League. I'm a fan of, but like more professional stuff for me kind of dips into where I watch like like traditional sports like football and basketball and stuff like that, and I like keeping the two more separate because they're such different vibes.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of those big esports are trying to imitate sports, but I think the most entertaining esports are the ones that feel more down to earth and human, for sure, like fighting games and Smash, even like other smaller esports.
Definitely.
That's the appeal for me as well. Fighting games are great too. I love going to fighting game tournaments here in Australia.
Oh, they're so fun. If you like, I mean, I play pretty much only Smash in terms of going to events, but going to like tournaments and seeing friends and being able to like compete, it's so much like camaraderie and just good vibes. I adore fighting game tournaments so much.
Yeah, they're great. And the commentators always like know the players personally, which adds an element of like connection and emotion to what's happening.
It's so cool. There's this like story I remember. It was in Arizona, Smash, like in Project M, and it was this crew battle between the players that liked IHOP and the players that liked Denny's, like two competing. Like it was really fun though because they had like a giant crew battle, and they would have one commentator for IHOP and one commentator for Denny's, and it was just like this absolute mess, but it was also really fun to like watch and watch the like story of it and see what happens and like pull for someone, but also have the commentary be so like free flowing and like wild and like out of pocket. It was so fun. It's such a cool like story.
Crew battles are very cool. That's a novel one. In at a fighting game tournament I went to, there was like a state battle between I'm from New South Wales, and then the state that was playing against New South Wales was Victoria. And the Victoria dude, like the first guy they sent out just soloed everybody. And it was just an absolute tragedy. The people just like in shambles in the crowd.
Yeah, I love crew battles. I think like we have something pretty similar at my home major, Crown. We had like I live in Utah, and we had like Utah versus other states, and I'm just like in the crowd, this like high school kid like a couple years ago, and it's like 1 a.m, and I'm watching like all the players that like like I know and I watch play every week play against these other like high level players, and I'm just like it's so fun, just the atmosphere. I love crew battles and everything they provide.
For sure. I think it'd be cool to do more like we're doing the revival tournaments. We're doing right now just an invitational 1v1 tournament. But team tournaments are cool too in Pokemon. I don't think that they should be like the main form of competition because they're a bit novel. They're usually best of one because there's too many games and stuff.
Yeah.
But like they can be really hyped too, especially I like the World Cup more than SPL when there's like a country versus a country. I think that's so more cool of a story and it's more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. World Cup of Pokemon is always so fun because because it's so tied to like something, right? Like team, like a team in SPL isn't like really tied as much to anything.
And every year
like,
there's just different people.
Yeah.
It's not like the same people every time. Like why would I be going for, the silly Snorlaxes? They got McMegan this year. Last year they had ABR. Like I'm not attached to them. But
Yeah.
The Oceania team is going to have the same people because there's only a pool of players you can choose from.
Yeah, it's so fun. I think the World Cup of Pokemon is such a fun thing.
They've also got the Retro Cup for the old gens, which is an underrated tourney. No one talks about that one, from what I've seen.
I gotta look more into that one because like it's one that I don't really know nearly as well. That kind of thing, the Retro Gens tournament.
I'm not usually a fan of team tournaments, but that was my favorite team tournament I had participated in. I played for Gen 3 OU for the Aussie team. I just felt more connected to the team. It's not like a random assortment of players that get drafted. It's like all the Australian players gathering.
Yeah.
So we have a connection and we're building with each other. I was actually watching their games and everything in other gens.
Mm-hmm.
And we did quite well. That was fun.
Nice. It seems so enjoyable to be on a team with other people that you're kind of like connected to in this more like intrinsic way. It seems so awesome in that sense.
Maybe we'll just cover the Retro Cup on Revival tournaments in the future. That'd probably be a good idea. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, honestly, it would. It'd bring more eyes to it, and it'd also be really fun to watch. Because those kind of team tournaments always get really enjoyable.
The thing is that there's too many games, though, because they play every old gen.
Yeah.
So I don't know because I can't really commentate like Gen 7 OU. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where it gets difficult.
But it's an idea for the future, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of like funny questions a lot of like comedy questions here. From Pantsless Rock. If PowerPoint was an egg-based dish, which dish would it be? What about Excel? What egg dish would PowerPoint be?
I'll say that PowerPoint's like a poached egg, I think. It can be really good, but it can also be really bad if made like awfully. And then
there you go.
Yeah, and then Excel would be like a fried egg. It's a little bit more consistent. You kind of know what you're getting into.
Or would it be a hard-boiled egg because it's quite a cold and calculating?
Oh, there it is. You're right. Oh, that's a really good one. Yeah, I think that was better.
It's just there's no thought put into it or chefery at all. You just chuck it in and wait 10 minutes.
Exactly.
There you go. Hard-boiled egg.
Here we go. The perfect spreadsheet egg dish.
Whereas PowerPoint is more of an art form. With a PowerPoint, you can express yourself like Ratatouille or something. So there you go. It's a poached egg cooked to perfection in your case. But some of those teachers at your school, they're making very uncooked poached eggs that are not finished. Bad. And there's not enough funny jokes in their PowerPoints.
Not enough.
A question from Finplup. Quagsire son or Clodsire daughter? It's got to be Clodsire daughter. It's a far better Pokemon.
I love Clodsire. It has to be Clodsire daughter. Exactly. Clodsire is perfect. It's this perfect being. It's so cute and it just sits there. It's amazing.
I think Clodsire is more honorable than Quagsire. Quagsire is like unaware stall.
Yeah.
Clodsire you can hit harder. It's not like this little guy who's annoying and you can't break him because of his typing.
It has more offensive presence, I feel like. Just really fun. Like Clodsire sets I've seen get more offensive, which is cool. But I mean, even then, it's still a pretty slow Pokemon that's meant to more shut down offensive threats than, really be the offense. But even then, yeah, it is more, it definitely can lean more offensive than Quagsire.
Yeah, Clodsire is obviously your channel mascot a little bit, or the channel icon.
Yeah.
Maybe Dracovish is more of the mascot. But
Yeah, I'd say Dracovish is more the mascot.
I've always said Clodsire is one of my favorite designs from Gen 9, like in terms of gameplay design, because I think that it is a defensive Pokemon that's not so annoying that just sits there forever. Like, it has these weak points you can punish. Ground Poison is good against some things, like it's got Fairy Resist and stuff, but it's obviously Ground and Psychic weak, which is a very exploitable thing. Where Quag has that annoying typing that's very easy to... You just have a teammate with Grass Resist, and Quag just dodges everything. It's an unaware wall. It's a more annoying Pokemon.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's very cute, but it's like what it does in competitive Pokemon is always rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. I feel like something so adorable shouldn't be relegated to something so frustrating.
Yeah, that's mostly like Gen 6 onwards though. In Gen 3, Quagsire is cool because it's like anti-Suicune. It's good water absorb. It doesn't have Unaware yet. Or Recover. And in Gen 2 it's epic because it's got Belly Drum.
Yeah. Oh man, Belly Drum Quagsire. That's my goat.
So if we're talking Gen 2 Quagsire, maybe the Quagsire son has a claim here. But overall, I think the Clodsire daughter has got this one.
100%.
What else do we have from the viewers at home? Oh, this is a crazy question. From Volzaluf. If Toxapex had a Twitter account, what would they complain about becoming woke?
Oh man.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good one. Like,
Alamamola has become woke. He's taken my job.
Yeah, exactly. Alola, yeah. All the, like the woke new physically defensive water type is Alola, even though it's older. Like, it's... I think that definitely fits the bill.
They've taken away Scald. The woke mob has taken away my knockoff. And they've given Flip Turn to Alamamola.
Absolutely horrific. Oh, Alola. What a Pokemon.
People were definitely like happy about the rise of Alamamola at first because it was like a novelty, but I'm starting to get annoyed by that guy in Gen 9 OU, to be honest.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's like Dondozo sometimes, but it feels more cheesy, but with Scald, and it has a pivot move plus Wish. It's like slow pivot plus Wish, and it's like I don't think this is very fun. So it can be annoying, but like it is cool to see a different defensive water type be really good. It isn't Toxapex. I think it's cool to have in the metagame at the very least.
I dislike Toxapex a lot more, but I do hate the pivoting. I hate when the regen guys get a pivot move. That was my least favorite thing about Gen 8 was the Slowbro teleport.
Ugh.
I hated that.
Yeah.
And now Alamamola can flip turn out and just safely go to wherever you want. It's annoying.
Yeah. And then Glowking has the chilly reception that's like insane. Like, oh man, yeah.
The worst kind of Gen 9 game is both players have Galarian Slowking and they're trying to hit the speed tie to go slower to get the slow pivot out.
Yeah, there's this, so the like Blunder tournament music. There's this comment that reminds me of under that video, and it's basically like 2 Slowkings use teleport for 200 turns theme song. It's like, yeah, that's how it feels sometimes. Like you're playing, like you're watching these games, and it's like, man, like these 2 Slowkings are really just going out over and over again to their like offensive threat, and then Slowking comes back in like 3 turns later to just do it all over again.
I saw people saying people are running level 99 Slowking Galar to be slower for sure. And then when does that end? Are we going to start seeing like level 70 Slowking just to be like it's just going to keep creeping down? Like I'm slower. No, I'm the one.
That sounds so funny.
I think when you get to that territory, that starts to become a problem. The slow speed creep.
The last thing you would expect to be speed, or the last thing you expect to be like power crept is being slow. Like, why is that the thing now?
Slow pivoting is too good.
It's so strong.
We got some questions about VGC Clodsire. Does Clodsire do stuff in VGC?
Okay, so this is so in VGC, Clodsire is what I used for like basically a year straight because I love Clodsire, and then I was like, oh, let's have it on a fun team. And then I was like, okay, maybe this can put in some work. So the idea with Clodsire is that it's really bulky, especially. It's really specially bulky, but then it has stockpile to make it more physically bulky and just impenetrable on the special side. Then it has toxic and recover and water absorb, so it can check Urshifu Rapid, and it's like kind of all right because it just wins endgames sometimes. It doesn't even need to run an attacking move. I did sometimes at like Stomping Tantrum, but I would sometimes slot Stockpile over that. And it like kind of works in this weird little way where it pivots into the Urshifu and it like heals off of their water move, and then it goes for Stockpile once, and now my opponent can kill it. It's also pretty good into Fluttermane and Chi-Yu because it just tanks their moves. Like, especially Fluttermane. Fluttermane just gets owned by Clodsire, which is hilarious to me. It just gets obliterated by it. It's really enjoyable. I love VGC Clodsire. It's not that good right now because of restricted Pokemon. Like, it can't really take on Calyrex Shadow, unfortunately, or it can beat Kyogre, but like Calyrex Shadow and Calyrex Ice are just too much for it. But it's so fun to use, and I'm very excited. I hope it comes back in the next game so I can do it all over again.
Sounds quite good, actually. Good. The Fairy Resist, the Water Immunes. Like the two biggest things were Fluttermane and Urshifu. That's all right.
Yeah, it felt pretty decent.
Restricted format must suck for it, though. You're right. Calyrex is it's no good.
So much damage. I just can't stockpile past him anymore.
I can respect such a thing. A question from Cool Guy Casey. What is your favorite thing about DK in Super Smash Bros?
Ooh, okay. So in Smash Ultimate, I play Donkey Kong a lot. I play a lot of characters, but
I used to main
Ultimate
Donkey Kong
DK. Oh, nice. Yeah, he's so fun because DK has like, it looks really simple on the surface because it's just like, oh, big punch, big like hand slap moves. But the more you get into him, the more there's this like, he becomes very complicated very quickly because some of his best combos like Ding Dong kill at like 60, but there's like specific ranges for it, percent ranges, and like like move staling is really important for that. And then his combo game is super diverse. DK has this thing called aerial up be out of shield, ASK, but you can't just like do it normally as far as I understand it. There's like a specific weird input for it because doing it normally is too slow because it's really fast. It's like frame like 7 or something, and it's huge and it deals like 20%. And then it just resets neutral. It's super good for him, but it's also difficult to do. He's such a complex character. I think that's my favorite thing about DK is how like surprisingly complex he can be.
I feel like I was lied to when I first got into Smash Ultimate. When the game first came out, people were like, "Oh, DK's actually good this time. He's a good character." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna main DK." And then like a couple of weeks passed, and people realized that was nonsense. He's huge. He's got a huge hurt box. And at the time, it was like Pichu was huge in the metagame. And you just can't hit that thing. You can't hit Pichu. I was getting so furious at the locals against the Pichus. And they just have the easy down air spike when you're up being. You don't have a hitbox on your head. So they so easily spike you. It's just the worst matchup of all time. It was horrible.
Yeah. Recently, Donkey Kong has been getting better because of like one player, Chunky Kong, who's been like just innovating the character, like using the ASK and like really mastering the like neutral and the combo game and stuff like that. And DK's been rising a bit, kind of akin to what's happening in Melee right now.
That's cool.
But yeah, DK still really struggles in so many matchups because he's so huge and he gets comboed and he dies really easily.
That was what I didn't like, was he had no great out of shield thing. You could do the up B out of shield, but it's clunky and it goes in one direction. You can sometimes flip it to like mix them up, but I could never. I think I heard about the aerial up out of shield thing. I could never do it. It's a little hard.
It's difficult. It's just like actually like really tough. I don't know how Chunky Kong does it, but he gets it consistently against like Fox and neutral air on shield. He's like punishing that like frame perfect or something. I don't get it because that move is oppressive, but man, he's so good at the game. It's crazy.
I remember I did this technique. You can like flick the stick backwards real quick and then like do an instant reverse back air.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's called. Yeah. It was different to RAR. It was something else.
Oh, was it?
It's the other one. I don't know.
It's like instant back air. I'm pretty sure it's abbreviated to IRAR, like instant RAR, because it's faster. Because yeah, the inputs are like, it feels like kind of unintuitive to learn, but it's really good because you get super quick back airs.
I remember taking the effort to learn that back when I played, and that was good. You could do dash attack into that instantly and start going crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's good. That like whole dash attack back air thing just leads to so much, and then it gets helped better by that. I'm pretty sure it's IRAR, although I'm not 100% sure.
You might be right. I can't recall. That's fun though. Is that your main in Smash Ultimate still?
Yeah, I play the most DK. I have the most fun with him. Him and Kazuya, I enjoy playing the most. Kazuya's way more broken than Donkey Kong is. And he's fun to like own people with because all of his moves are so busted. And then DK is fun to own people with because all of his moves like randomly link into each other. But he's worse, so he can be more frustrating sometimes. But yeah, it's mostly DK right now.
That's fine. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, what annoyed me about Smash Ultimate is there's too many damn characters. I remember going to the locals and like someone would be the resident Corrin main. I'm like, do I really want to learn the Corrin matchup? Weird like sword that hits half the screen. Like, what the hell is that? What am I playing against?
No. There's so many characters in Ultimate because you have to learn like every matchup. It feels like, because like I don't want to go to the local and then. Like, there's this Robin player in my region that I am like, I get obliterated by. And it's like, it can be really frustrating sometimes because, like, part of me feels like I just don't know the matchup. And, like, I know I'm getting outplayed too because that guy is better than me. But it's like, I don't know how much I want to commit to this game. Like, do I want to learn, like, Robin? And do I want to learn about, like, how to beat Wii Fit Trainer super well? Like,
yeah, Wii Fit
I don't really know if I want to. What a character. What a character.
That's what I liked about Melee is that there's like 7 characters you got to know the matchup for. It's more manageable in that way. And if they're playing a weirdo character, he probably really sucks. So there's at least that advantage. Like if you've never played against Pichu before, you're probably alright. They might be a gamer, but they're at a significant handicap.
Yeah.
Some people think that's a bad thing. Like their idea of a good game balance is everything is as viable as each other. And there's like 30 viable characters. But sometimes that's overwhelming and it's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially I mean, every game is complex, but like especially when games get more complex, like especially in Smash, right? Because I need to know like what these weird, stupid, low tier characters are doing, or if they were good. Like I need to know what these characters are doing and what they're fishing for and how to like DI other combos and like all the little tricks. And it's like, do I want to do that for 80 characters? And Melee does it, I think, better in that sense. I actually like Melee's balance a lot more than Ultimate, which is surprising.
Don't you play Bowser, mate? I think I've seen you talk about that.
Yes.
What the hell?
I do. I'm a Bowser main. It's a remnant from when I played Bowser in Ultimate. I actually had to drop Ultimate Bowser because my Melee Bowser was like infecting my Ultimate Bowser like a disease. And I started doing Melee Bowser things in Ultimate and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I like Melee Bowser more, so I'm going to play him. Melee Bowser's fun. I love him. He has so many cool moves. Melee Bowser side B might be the most awesome thing in the game. Oh, the heater just turned on. Hopefully that's not too loud. But he's so fun and interesting in so many different ways. And it's Melee. Like, it's weird because Melee low tiers are worse than, like, Ultimate low tiers. But also, the movement is so deep that Melee low tiers feel like they have more to do, even though the matchups are worse. Like, I'll play against Falco, and I'm like, yeah, I can, like, edge guard them, and I can edge hog, and I have my, like, movement techniques to make this easier. But in Ultimate, I have, like, my initial dash, and then I have my double jump. Then movement becomes so, like, difficult to innovate with in Ultimate. I love playing Melee low tiers for that reason. I think they have more of, like, a chance in that sense.
There are some cool ones, like Ness has a lot of epic stuff with the double jump canceling. So cool. Like Mewtwo with the teleporting is very, very cool as well.
Yeah, I love Melee low tiers.
Even like Young Link has some stuff with the bombs going on.
Yeah, Young Link is cool. Does like respectable into Puff, so you can use it for that. Like floaties, I'm pretty sure. True. Young Link is like alright into. It's so cool. Like all the little low tiers in Melee. Because then you see him do well and you're like, man, I didn't know that Mewtwo could like do this like weird technique to boost across the stage with Shadow Ball. It's so cool.
Bowser is such a clunky character though. Can't imagine maining Bowser. Yeah. His jump takes like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's like 8 frames. It's pretty bad. It's so awful. I still can't believe that the next worst character in the game, Jump Squat, is 6 frames. They skipped 7 and then they made Bowser's Jump Squat 8 frames just to like screw him over even more. I can't believe they did that. It's such a nonsensical thing to do.
He's a big guy. It requires some charge up time, you know?
Yeah, but then like DK's is fast and Ganondorf's is like fast, at least compared to Bowser's. It's like, man,
he's a larger. He's got a big shell. He's heavier.
That is, you know what? That is true. I never thought
Gorillas
about
the
mechanics
agile,
of jumping with a giant shell. Yeah, that's true.
Ganondorf is just a human. He's a heavy character, but he can jump, right?
Yeah, I get. You know what? Yeah, you're right. He can jump, thankfully. But
Bowser
again,
doesn't
it's kind
really
of
jump
annoying.
in
I
the
don't know.
games in Mario. He's more of a grounded fellow.
Grounded. Yeah, it's a grounded, plodding character.
I did enjoy Bowser in Smash Ultimate, actually. He had that thing you could do the forward tilt, like you run, dash back, and forward tilt at the same time, and you like do a sliding forward tilt, and it's got armor on it.
Yeah.
That was epic.
It's oh man, I love Bowser forward tilt in Ultimate. Yeah, that the pivot cancel tilt sliding you is so
Pivot
good,
cancel, that's
especially
the one.
for Bowser because yeah, it gives him so much range on forward tilt. It just becomes like a dash attack, but it kills at 100 and deals like 15. It's such a good move.
That was one of my favorite things about Ultimate was how they changed Bowser. They changed him significantly. It was really cool. He's even the
Yeah.
animations. He's standing upright and running.
He feels
very
more like
cool.
a character. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot more. I don't know how viable he is, but he feels way nicer to move with, and he just feels better.
Yeah. He's all right. I'm a bit of a downer on Ultimate Bowser. I think he's pretty bad, but the general player base is like, yeah, he's a pretty good character. Like he's solid. His movement's good, good kill power, fine neutral. Like Bowser's a pretty good character in Ultimate, and a lot of people hate him because he's way simple. Like he's very easy to pick up because all those moves are giant and kill. So
He's got the easy up B out of shield too. I liked that.
oh yeah, up B is so free. It's so good.
That's his one good thing in Melee too, is the up B is actually a good move. It's the single
Up
thing
B
he's got.
is crazy. Melee up B out of shield is nuts because you can just grab ledge with it if you do it right. Like you can just grab ledge and you can auto cancel on platforms. And it's also fast. Like I'm pretty sure I've checked. I'm pretty sure if I do it right, it like beats Falco down around shield. Although to be fair, I'm not 100% sure on that one. But it's like really good, and it's like the one thing that holds this character together.
Do you think you'd ever do PowerPoints about Smash? That could be a good idea.
I've definitely considered it. I want to at some point. I feel like it would have to be something where like I have a lot of time to do it. And this summer might be a good opportunity because especially after June, it gets easier for me to have more time in my schedule. Because June is always so busy. Like after early in mid-July, I have like a month where it's just completely like it's nothing. So if I'm gonna do it, it'll be then for sure. But it's something I want to try.
I think it'd be a natural pivot. There's such crossover between Smash and
yeah.
Pokemon. Always surprises me.
It really is. It's amazing.
I would definitely watch a PowerPoint about Melee Bowser. Sounds like you're knowledgeable. You could put it together.
Yeah, I'd love to make something like that. It'd be so fun.
Even like the beauty of the PowerPoint style is you can be very specific with it. About like one little interact. You could even do like, I don't know, the tragedy of the Bowser versus Marth matchup. I don't know. Something like very specific. And go into detail about that.
Get me started about Marth. Yeah, definitely. I could do a lot of really fun stuff with it. And I want to at some point because I think it'd just be a blast to talk about Melee Bowser. Like, oh man, I love that character and I want to talk about him more. So that, yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking into.
I anticipate such a thing. Outside of Pokemon Smash and your career of teaching, what do you get up to in terms of hobbies, interests, media you enjoy, whatever?
So my like two things that I do a lot of outside of like work and, like playing other games and stuff like that, I go on like a lot of walks. Like I go on like at least one a day, if not two, because I just love walking outside and it helps me clear my mind a lot of the time. It helps me come up with ideas, but also it's relaxing. Like turning on like some really good, like chill music and walking around like the neighborhood and when it's like dusk is really nice. Or just like a park. It can be really relaxing and
healthy
help
habit.
clear my
That's
mind.
good.
Oh yeah. And then the other thing is beatboxing. I have kind of dropped
Really?
off a little bit recently. Yeah. I love beatbox. It's so fun. I I love learning new sounds and the way that it all
Boots and
works
cats.
and yeah, exactly. Boots and Cats. I think there was this special on PBS Kids that got me into it like years and years and years ago. Into beatboxing because it's so fun. I think it's really cool to see what noises and how you can make beats and how you can make like full-fledged like music with it. It's so fun.
It's a very interesting art, isn't it?
hmm
That would be so funny if one of your videos just had a beatbox track in the background. Be talking about like
Hey, oh man, I
Dracovish
could do
is like
that.
me when Fish's friend one hits my fur thought.
Then I just go into
The
this whole,
insane
yeah, I think
beatbox.
that could actually be really fun. Like like incorporating it in some sense. Yeah, there's so many things I want to try with my videos, and that's definitely one of them. Like incorporating beatbox into it, I want to at some point because it sounds so fun.
That almost fits with the whole style. Like you don't even add a soundtrack in editing; you make it yourself.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly.
homegrown. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you seen that clip of Armada, the Smash player, trying to like beatbox, and he just doesn't understand? It's one of the
I
funniest
think I
clips.
have.
He's trying to do the boots and cats thing. He just keeps saying out loud "boots" and the cats. Like he can't comprehend it.
It's like I don't know, like like I don't know how to
Hungrybox
make
is
a
like, dude,
snare.
it's like you say "boots" and cat. Like say it faster, man. He doesn't understand.
And you kind of like take out the vocalization, and then exaggerate all the sounds, and he's like boots and cats and boots. It's like, what are you doing? Like that's not how that works.
That's an all-time great video.
Oh, absolutely.
Who do you think are your favorite Smash players in Ultimate and in Melee?
Oh, that's a really good question. In Melee, I'll do Melee first. I love Melee DK. I've always been really into heavies. So I love like Akir, I love Junebug especially. Junebug's commentary is amazing, and then the DK is so smooth. Akir, Junebug, Mo, Calmignidator. And then in terms of top players, definitely Jmook. Jmook is such an electric player to watch, but the character that I've never really loved. Like, I don't enjoy watching Sheik too often, except when it's Jmook or like sometimes Spark. Jmook, though, just so clean with it and smooth and has so many unique ideas that he brings to the table. And then Ultimate, my favorite Ultimate players are very often also heavy players. So like Chunky Kong and then Head of the Bowser are so fun to watch. But I think that two players that I love watching are Lucky, the Piranha Plant player from like Midwest, like so fun to watch. I love Piranha Plant, and then the other one is Luigi from Japan. Not Japan. Luigi from the UK, playing Luigi, and it's just I love those like weird little goofball characters, and they play them so well. I love watching those two.
Piranha Plant's got to be the weirdest Smash character ever. I really hated playing him. He's just so weird and different. But
yeah, really odd overall. Super confusing toolkit to like pick up and just be like, oh, this is like oh, I guess I have to deal with this thing. It's such a weird thing.
Unique though. I respect it design-wise, I suppose.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
The rise of DK and Melee has been so interesting. There's like actual DK players that have a relevant presence. That's quite cool.
DK Renaissance.
Any other games you're interested in?
In terms of like competitively, no, not at all. I play Minecraft sometimes because it's relaxing. Same with Stardew Valley and Civilization. I think they're just good games to chill and have fun with. But outside of that, I don't really play too many like video games. I'm not that much of a gamer anymore. Yeah, I guess I do speedrun New Super Mario Bros. Wii like every other month. I grinded for sub 30 and then I immediately stopped playing the game because it was like ruining my mental health, so I had to stop.
I could never get into speedrunning. It's so stressful,
so difficult,
especially the longer games.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm getting on these runs, I'm like, man, I've been going for sub 30 for 2 months. I gotta get this on the like final Bowser chase sequence, and oh, I messed this up, and then I got like 10 seconds over, and it's like so sad and depressing. Speedrunning is it's fun, but it's also so just mentally draining and taxing. I don't know how like dedicated professional speedrunners do that.
It requires a different mind, honestly.
Absolutely.
You got some time off and you're gonna do that. You gotta love it or just have a mind for competition.
Definitely.
And it's so niche, and there's like 10 people who play a game, and you're just extrapolating it to the...
Yeah. It's crazy. Small games too. Oh man, so many intricacies in speedrunning. I don't get it, but I love it.
Fascinating. I would like to make more videos about those super niche communities that just optimize a specific game. That just fascinates me.
But yeah.
Niche competitive games, niche speedrun games.
Yeah, definitely. It's so fascinating. There's this mobile game that one of my cousins showed to me. It's called like Bat to Bed, and it's basically this like Flappy Bird thing, but it goes up. And there's like all sorts of crazy obstacles, and he's like, yeah, I'm like top 3 in the world. And I watch him play, and he's like so fluid, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this game, and you're like interacting with this community and having these like crazy times and optimizing every little thing out of this dumb little upwards Flappy Bird game, and it's so like fun to see how those communities come together. It's really cool.
That's so interesting. What the hell?
Yeah, it's it's awesome.
I've heard about like competitive Clash of Clans players too.
That's another like
what the hell's up with that?
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Yeah, like all those little niche like games that are competitive, and it's so fun. There's like recently I've been learning about Sonic the Fighters from it's like Us Tunes, and they make this like it's like a Sonic fighting game, and you have like Sonic and Knuckles and Eggman, who's banned because he isn't like it's not an infinite, but he has like a neutral poke that deals half of your health, so he's like instantly completely like obliterated and banned. But it's so cool to learn about all these like
is that the one with like PS1 graphics? It's like a pretty old game.
I think so. Yeah, it's like really blocky.
I think I've seen Donkey play this one. This is a competitive scene?
No way. Yeah, Sonic the Fighters.
No way.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like
Donkey definitely did a video on this.
Oh man, yeah, they had like a bracket at like they had like their own bracketed combo breaker. Like I can't believe that. And they're gonna have another one at CEO. Like it's so cool to see.
I gotta tune in. What the hell?
To see it manifest. I watched it and I'm like, this is so fascinating because everything works so differently. Like you have like a certain amount of blocks you can use. So like if they like break a shield of yours, then like you just can't use it anymore. And you have like 5 of them. So like sometimes you're playing entire rounds without being able to like block attacks, and it's so cool. I think it's a fascinating game.
I think this is the second time I've mentioned this. Have you seen Shrek Super Slam competitive?
I don't think I have, but now I really want to know what it is.
Shrek Arena Fighter. It's like a 3D game where I think it's supposed to be played with 4 players, and you just Shrek characters punching each other. It's kind of like a beat 'em up style, but people would just play 1v1s with it. It's like this weird. I believe the best character in the game was like Little Red Riding Hood, because you could just throw an apple at you. It's just like a Falco projectile.
That is hilarious. Okay, I need to like learn what that is.
I don't know if that's like dead now, but there was a little phase where Shrek Super Slam was having its moment at like local Smash tournaments. There was a little Shrek Super Slam side bracket because it's also on GameCube. Pretty easy to just chuck it.
Oh wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard, I think.
We've got to revive that community, folks. Let's get back into it.
Absolutely.
But we've got to ban Little Red Riding Hood.
Revival tournaments, Shrek Super Slam bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna pivot.
Coming soon.
Screw Pokemon. We'll play real
Pokemon.
games.
We gotta absolutely.
There's so many of those like old sort of like some IP with a weird 3D fighting game with ridiculous mechanics. Clearly not designed to be like a legit fighting game, but it's just for kids or whatever. But then, like, how many of those have actual competitive scenes? I can't believe Sonic the Fighters is a real thing. They did it with Shrek Super Slam. And there was also those old Dragon Ball Z ones on, like, the PS1 with, like, blocky graphics. Do they have a competitive scene?
Yeah. Who knows? Like, there's so many... Fighting games are just so deep because every game is so different in its own unique way, but they're all so connected by the, like, style of fighting games. It's what makes them cool because, like, really, you could have, like, an IP for anything. Like, I don't know, I'll bet you if, like, Cheez-Its made a fighting game, then, like, man, it'd go crazy. In, like, 10 years, we're going to be seeing these, like, really long video essays about how the, like, white cheddar flavor is dominating with its insane attack that, like, has an infinite against the wall. Like, I don't even know. Like, there's so many insane things that, like, could happen in fighting games, and so many of them do, and it's amazing.
Whenever I go to fighting game tournaments, there's like a tradition where my buddies will, at the hotel room, will just get like the worst fighting game of all time they can find on Steam, and they'll play like a little like round robin. There was one called Fight of the Gods, where the characters are literally gods, like this Jesus, Buddha, like Zeus. And for whatever reason, Jesus has this jab. It's like a tiny little jab, and it just infinites. Like you just spam it, and it just infinites. And so Jesus had to be banned. Which I suppose makes sense. He's too OP.
It's insane. Jesus framed it. It goes crazy. What?
Yeah, it just like permanently blocks studs, dude. You can't move. The touch of God, I guess.
That would go so crazy is like a name for a technique. Like imagine like
Oh, the touch of
Jesus
God.
got banned from this fighting game for the touch of God.
Oh, that's got to be the canon name for that now. That does go crazy.
You've coined the term. That's so good.
There's so many crappy fighting games. You'd be amazed. It was like the worst name of all time, like Fighting Streets, or something like that. And the characters are just like Susan, and it's just the worst 3D model you've ever seen.
That's amazing. I love bad fighting games. There's one I have like vague knowledge of, and it's this Family Guy game, and there's like a video about it. I actually learned it from a Coney video, but what it is what's his name? Like older brother, not Stewie, but Chris. Chris has this like full screen invisible projectile that deals like a third of your health on block. It's really messed up. It's like impossible to beat.
So Chris is banned.
I guess so.
The Family Guy community just bans everything. Why don't they just adapt to Chris Griffin?
Absolutely. Like every one of his moves is useless. It's like him crying or screaming or like peeing his pants. But then he has this one move where he screams, and it's just this unbelievably broken tool that it's insane. I love.
Is that a 2D fighter
so
or like a 3D arena thing?
Yeah, it's like a 2D fighter, so you can't like deal with it because it pushes you back. It pushes you like full screen, so you can't approach it and you can't block it because it pushes back on block. So you just lose. It's really funny.
That would be a sick tournament idea, is just like a best of 7 with all these garbage fighting games. Like
it sounds like
the loser picks one. So you go from like Family Guy to like a counter pick to Battle of the Gods.
Exactly. Like it sounds so funny. Just get all the crap fighting games and have them all play and just learn about like all the stuff, and then someone could yell, "He's hitting him with the hand of God" on stream. That sounds like the most beautiful thing.
I just had a random flashback to like I was staying at this weird hotel in like some small town in Australia, and their like entertainment room or whatever had like a PS1 with The Simpsons wrestling on it, which is another one of those kind of games, like a sort of a 3D arena fighter, similar to Sonic the Fighters, I guess. And the best character was Ned Flanders, who also has like he summons a beam from heaven or something.
What?
And that's just OP as hell, because he's a.
That seems broken. This like like a beam that's like diagonal. Like have fun approaching against that. I assume that's what it is, but like that seems literally unbeatable.
I can't remember. It's a distant memory, but I do remember picking Ned Flanders, and the other kids were furious at me. I was just going crazy with the beam from heaven.
Like, you got to pick someone else. You can't keep picking Ned Flanders, right. The most broken character in Simpsons wrestling.
We're bad at Ned. I'm more of a Willie man. But Willie is a sword character with the rake.
What? Oh, that's sick. Oh, dude. Like Marth and the Tipper.
There's archetypes in Simpsons wrestling. Yeah. There's like a Ned. He's sort of a Ned style character. I'm talking garbage.
That sounds really funny though. Like like Bart's like a Homer, and like Lisa's more of like a like you could just.
Lisa's kind of the Showdown of the.
Lisa the Showdown, because you have the like you like shoot maybe like musical notes out of the saxophone, and that's your like Hadouken, and then yeah.
They got to get one of those really good. Whoever makes Guilty Gear, to get them to do like a Family Guy or Simpsons fighting game. It's just really good. Like it's really mechanically sound.
Yeah,
but it's just the funniest IP possible. I would love that.
Like, oh man, that'd be a blast. And then I think what would be the funniest part of that is you would have like a really annoying character like Happy Chaos. Maybe Homer becomes crazy because he throws donuts full screen and you can't beat it. And then everyone's like, man, like you're so carried. You play Homer Simpson. Like you can't, like you aren't skilled at the game because you play Homer Simpson.
Typical Homer players, man.
Typical Homer players. Just, throwing donuts cross stage, and then it gets nerfed and everyone's like, no, they ruined Homer Simpson. Like...
I don't know why there's so much hate to Homer mains. Like, we want to play the game too. We want to have fun too. Like, I just want to come to the local. I'm a Homer main. I liked him in the show. I have a connection to the character. Exactly. Yes, the donut is broken, but like Lisa, like, get off your high horse, Lisa mains. Like, you think you're so cool.
I mean, Lisa seems like pretty broken too. Crazy frame data. The like I mean, Lisa's like saxophone shoryuken is insane. Like I can't like it deals like half of your health bar, and then the super. I mean, this is so stupid, but like, yeah, it just sounds so funny to hear these IPs talked
Well, I
about.
suppose
like,
that's literally what
competitive
Smash is like
fighting.
with the character. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
like
that
all
far
these.
off. There are some ridiculous fighters with even like Marvel's Capcom has some funny ones.
Mhm. Yeah, like I can't believe these like villager players, these villager Animal Crossing players. Man, I can't believe it.
Wii
Like
Fit
so
trainer.
annoying to deal with the full screen zoning. The Wii Fit trainer, like, no, I swear I just like Wii Fit the game. Like, it's so funny.
That's what I thought that was always funny in the Smash community. There's like a sense of honor with actually liking the IP of the character you main. Like, no, I actually played
Yeah,
Star Fox, so
exactly.
I'm allowed to be a Fox main. I played Star Fox as a
Yeah.
child. Well, if you never played Star Fox, you're not honorable. If you main Falco or whatever.
So funny. Yeah, man. Good old Smash character loyalties. It is so funny. And Sonic players are like the big like I think like forefront of this because the best Sonic player is Sonic's. And then there's so many like Sonic
They're
players
just Sonic
really
super
love Sonic.
fans.
It's kind of like a stereotype. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like Sonic just kind of draws a lot of the like big time Sonic fans. It's really interesting to see.
That makes
like,
perfect sense.
what
There's a lot of
characters are really into the
brand
character.
loyalty in general to Sonic.
Oh yeah,
Strong
Sonic
fandom.
is such a Never argue with Sonic fans on Twitter. Worst mistake of your life. Don't do it.
Such an interesting franchise.
Oh yeah.
Like the early games were so
There's-
great and innovative and like different, and I felt like there was just a weird era in the middle where it's like you flip a coin if this next Sonic game is going to be a banger or it's going to be complete garbage. It's just a 50-50.
Like, it's either like it's a generational masterpiece or it's the worst game of all time and it's not fun or funny. It's just like a bad game. Like Sonic is such a weird franchise for that reason. You know, like you said, it just does all this stuff that feels bad, but also sometimes they produce an amazing game. It's so funny.
Sonic 3 is an excellent game. It's one of my favorites.
I don't
Sonic
think
3 and Knuckles.
yeah, I haven't played too much Sonic games, but I want to play more, especially the older ones. So I'll definitely give it a shot. Although I don't know how old that one is, to be fair.
That's one of the Genesis ones. It's pretty old. Actually, I had the
Oh,
PC
yeah,
version
nice.
when I was a kid. There was a PC version, interestingly.
Oh man. Huh.
Hey, you mentioned you don't play too many games these days. You find it like difficult to sit down and play a game? I feel like all of our attention spans are getting eroded away by the addictive nature of social media and even YouTube to an extent. And it's a little bit easier
Yeah.
to just put on a YouTube video in my downtime or something than to dedicate a few hours to playing like Red Dead Redemption or whatever.
Yeah, I do find it kind of tough because like I'll sit down and play a game and I'm always thinking like I could be working on something right now, or even like I could be watching like a more interesting thing or learning something right now. I feel like I just feel so unproductive when I play video games that aren't Pokemon that like I kind of have strayed away from them, which is unfortunate, but this is kind of how it is, I guess, as I've gotten older. I say gotten older. I like just barely turned 19, so I'm not like
Oh wow.
very old or anything.
I
Yeah.
thought you were a bit older.
No, I'm pretty young.
And already so successful on YouTube.
That's
Incredible.
kind of nuts. I am pretty kind of surprised by that. How
I was making
Yeah.
videos at 19 as well, but nobody was watching them.
yeah, I made so many videos when I was like a little kid, you know, being like, oh, I want to be like a big YouTuber, and I still have an old channel that's like out there floating around. I checked it recently, no views, which makes sense. I was like, I wonder if any of these like got like any traction in the time I was gone. Has it been like a year since I checked? No, it still is
And
nothing.
just like Minecraft
And it's
videos
really
or something?
bad.
What are they?
There's a couple. It's actually a lot of old like online Smash tournaments from 2020, and then there's like it's just like some random videos. There was like a stream incentive I did where I re-released an old video, and it's this like 4-year-old thing of me timing out a Wi-Fi Zelda with my Jigglypuff and being like, I'm gonna make this some sort of epic story, and it's very fun to watch, to like look back on, because one, I was really bad at the game, and two, it's like a glimpse into what I was like 4 years ago and like how I've changed. But it's so old YouTube content, one of the true pillars of our society.
I unfortunately deleted like all my old channels. I would love to watch those back. I was making videos at like age
Gotcha.
10, like YouTube poops. I don't know if you know what those even are, but
Very vaguely, yeah.
that was a whole thing back in like 2008, and
Yeah.
just like complete garbage. But I would love to
Yeah.
watch them back. Someone found my channel at school and I got embarrassed, so I deleted it.
That makes sense, honestly. It's kind of embarrassing, especially when you're like a kid and you're like, yeah, well, upload this YouTube video, or if someone like you're like, you know what, I don't like this. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's worthless now. So then you delete it, and it's like, oh well, I guess I didn't need to do that, but
Yeah, I had a very extreme reaction.
yeah,
It wasn't
I'll
that crazy.
being humiliated in like elementary or middle school or whatever is so like traumatizing, and it's so visceral. It's like, I never want this to happen again. Get rid of whatever's causing the problem.
That's damn true.
But yeah.
And you mentioned that you have a very casual approach to all these competitive games that you play. But do you have any like
Yeah.
aspirations about going far in a tournament or making a name for yourself in any of these games? That's something I always like to think about, but
Yeah.
it is difficult. It's a commitment. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah. Same here. For me, I find that I both learn more about games and have more fun when I just kind of take it from a more like, I'm just playing this to enjoy it kind of mindset. So I get better when I do that. But then, like, I do at some point want to like try and take competing more seriously, especially in Pokemon. Not really in Smash, but especially in Pokemon, I want to try and take it like a little bit more seriously. So, it's just kind of a slow process to that. Getting better at team building, getting better at like laddering, and then having a stronger mindset and stuff like that. But at the moment, I'm focused more on making stuff and going to school, and then I just play Pokemon because I enjoy it.
Yeah, in the past, I enjoyed Pokemon as a competitive hobby. I think it's fun to like just have something to think about all the time and like a goal to work towards. Adds a bit of meaning to life a little bit. Something that
Absolutely,
like I'm
yeah.
climbing for rank 1 or something. It can be annoying and stressful when you lose all your points on the road or whatever, but I think it's like I haven't been doing that as much recently, and I miss it a little bit. Despite the frustration, it is fun to have a goal to work towards. I think that's where it has its value.
Absolutely. It can be so fun. Like, I remember one of the most fun times I've had playing Pokemon recently was during the Volcarona suspect test. I had like a couple runs, and I got like really close. I would always get pretty like flustered by the end because it'd be like, oh, I'm so close to like getting Rex. And then I would immediately lose because I get like too antsy. But it was so fun to just like have this kind of thing to like work towards. It was really enjoyable, and I've always enjoyed doing those kind of things, but I think that tournaments would also kind of fill that more like competitive try-harding void for me, which is something I want to do.
I hate going for suspect requirements, to be honest. I find it annoying because you have to have a good GXE. And GXE is just like a mystical thing that doesn't make any damn sense in my opinion. Like, I don't even get it.
Yeah, like I understand why they do it, I guess, but it can be tough because what kind of ends up happening for me is I'll be like, okay, I'm like 15-0 on ladder, like I'm doing great, and then I lose one game and I see my GXC go down like 2 or 3 points, and I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, I just lost everything in one like fell swoop. Like, oh, I got like crit once on my guy, and now all of a sudden I'm like losing, and now I'm like frustrated because I'm like, man, it took me so long to get that high of a GXC, and now it's down, and then it just kind of spirals. It can be kind of frustrating for Rex sometimes in that sense.
I might have to talk to someone and smoke on why they factor in GXE. This might be a valid reason, but I feel like having GXE requirement just promotes you on getting a really good run, like multiple wins in a row, which is just kind of luck based because sometimes you just lose one because of natural variance. Why isn't it just like an ELO where you can like lose 20 games if you want, as long as you even out and become a certain rating? Isn't that more fair?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not.
It's something that like makes sense in my head, I guess, where like, like, oh, well, like, why can't it be like, oh, you just have to be above 1700 for a suspect? But also, like, I'm not, I've thought about it a decent bit, and it's not something that I like know the ins and outs of. I'll bet there's like a really good reason behind it that I just like don't fully understand. But from an outsider's perspective, it's like, man, I really wish I could like, like have some bad luck and still like feel like good about my run, like it's not just over immediately.
All right. I think I've got to go do some videos and stuff, so I'll wrap it up shortly. But one final question.
All right.
From insert funny thing here. If you and Turtonator got into a fight, who would win?
That's a tough one. I think that what it comes down to is that Dragon does resist electric, so I think Turtonator would win. But I would make it close. I think what would end up happening is it would be close and it'd be like a good fight. And then Turtonator would use Shell Trap once as I try and punch it, and then I would immediately like combust and immediately lose. But I think it'd be close. I think I would have a chance.
So if you're an Electric Wind Girlfriend, are you also flying type then?
I definitely am flying, and that, I guess, could help me a little bit, getting like Stab, Hurricane.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. A big
like
Stab Hurricane is huge damage on that, and there's a confused chance. So you got odds,
definitely.
You got a chance.
And who knows what my ability is. Maybe I'm like Serene Grace, and then I'm just doing like Togekiss and Shaman shenanigans.
Oh yeah, with the air slash flinch. Then you're favored at that point. Then you're good.
Yeah, and then I think I would have a good shot.
And you got good defensive stats? Can you live like a overheat or whatever the strongest move is?
I don't know how exactly good my defenses are. Maybe I'd run like a Focus Sash in that matchup, just so I could take the overheat, because I'm not.
If it's the Smogon 1v1
sure
format, a Focus Sash will be banned. I think it's banned, but...
Oh, that is true. Is it banned? Wow. Yeah. Oh, then I might be kind of owned because I don't have a very good heat tolerance, so that might actually go downhill if they're able to land the overheat. But good news is that, air slash flinches, I would have a chance, I think. So who knows?
As long as if you're like 2-hit, maybe you got a choice specs on, that's your best thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Or an Assault Vest, then you could live the Draco Meteor or the overheat.
Oh,
then
yeah.
You got a good odds.
Specs, AV, who knows? I think Specs might be the call there, because then I just need like 2 or 3 air slash flinches instead of...
It might even just be
4
one
or 5.
with off the back of the stab.
It might even just be 1.
The Specs
Who knows?
boost.
Stab boosted. Like, I don't know how my special tag is. I mean, yeah, like, it could be anything.
I was going to say Terra, but you can't Terra in 1v1 either. They banned Terra.
I guess you can, Terra flying, and then it'd just be Wind Girlfriend. So.
Yeah. Well, great answer. And thank you very much for the chat. All the best for your channel.
Thank you.
In the future.
It was so fun to talk, yeah.
Absolutely.
It was an absolute blast.
Everyone check out Electric Wind Girlfriend on YouTube. Stay tuned for perhaps some Melee Bowser content coming one day.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
All right, take care. See you later.